What top 10 things must happen for humanity to reach a utopian society? That is a question I asked ChatGPT. It listed off 10 things. I'm going to read them off. We're going to go 1 through 10, and then we're going to discuss each point.
Let us do it. Let's do it.
All right. Number 1, consciousness and values, inner evolution. People would need to collectively shift from ego-driven survival towards empathy, awareness, cooperation, and stewardship. Without a shift in mindset, no external system can stay utopian. What do you think about number 1? I think it's a good start. Probably one of the harder things to get off right off the bat for humanity to shift away against survival, right? Because we're so driven by survival. That's like the number 1 thing that motivates most humans. Right?
Survival?
Yeah.
Okay. So what are you saying?
I'm just saying that seems like the hardest one to shift, to move in towards a more empathetic route that is not so focused on that, more about acceptance, cooperation, and another word in there was stewardship. Stewardship, I guess, would be like equal dealings with like the finances or the resources.
Yes. You know, this is interesting with all this spiritual talk and consciousness and everything, right? Like the idea of, just on the way here, I was thinking like, it's, all of this is just a big game of God. It's like a movie where God discovers God's God by the end. Like, just as it's like a thing. Don't take that to the bank. Don't be too cringed out that I even said that. Just a lot of spirituality talks in terms of love and God and everything like that. But people forgot about Dre. People forgot about the fact that, there was some hardcore lessons in all this. If there's a reality to love and a reality to God, or a reality to some kind of super intelligence or consciousness or whatever, then what the hell, man? What was that just about? Just a moment ago when we were warring and fighting and murdering and killing, like you say about survival, right? Okay, we might shift. Everyone might become outward, but you're acting as though there's something horrible and carnal and evil about what we already just did, what we were already just up to. You're acting as though people don't have extreme kinks in life, or like extreme things, like, rock climbing without a rope or whatever. And you could sit there and you could say, that's all ego stuff. It's like, yeah, but egos do stuff. They do stuff.
Yeah.
Don't they?
They do.
They achieve things. And so I always approach this from kind of an assholey. If you're wondering, if some of you still wondering whether or not I'm an asshole, I am indeed an asshole. I often speak from a place of like trying to speak to a specific type of people, because I don't take for granted that things are a way for good damn reason, and there's plenty of surprises. We don't know. We don't know if this is headed towards a utopia. You ever heard of the story of the monks that they all achieved enlightenment and swept through the land, and they were sitting there in bliss, and then barbarians came in and murdered their asses and took all their shit?
Jeez. Yes.
I'm just saying, like, people hate me. I know I don't have to talk to them. I don't have to get feedback, but I'm sure in the spiritual community, they go, "You're too intellectual." And I go, I'm never would not honor my intellectuality. Doesn't matter how enlightened I might be or get. I love my intellect. You know what I mean? Because it can look at the world and try and kind of see what's going on.
Yeah.
Doesn't it matter practicality? Like, even if you do become awakened, a lot of them say nothing changes. Your job doesn't end. Your responsibilities don't change. I go, well, you need certain tools to do those things.
Yeah.
There's certain jobs where you can't go in and even be displaying love. They'd be like, you're fired. I need you to be reactive. When I tell you you're working this weekend, I better see micro expressions of anguish on your face, because I worked hard to get to this position. You know what I'm saying? Like, those really petty, nitty gritty shit still exists.
Yeah.
So all I'm doing is pairing this with the world is going to do all kinds of stuff. It's going to plummet into chaos. It's going to lie to itself. It's pretty amazing and wonderful how it sorts itself out. Just don't forget why we have brutality, or why we have the capacity to fear, or why we have the capacity to be anxious, or why we struggle with just doing whatever the hell we want versus adopting some responsibility. I'm just speaking on behalf of that. You can still get enlightened, believe it or not, with all that going on. You know what I mean? And I agree. If you wanted a planetary utopia, we're spending a lot of time on point one. We should move on. But it's rich with so much, right? Like this whole thing, what would usher in utopia? Yes, I fundamentally do agree that if all those things were like aspects of it, we'd go towards utopia. But why are you valuing utopia so much? How do you know utopia is what's supposed to happen? What if there's rich lessons in the fact that we're still half ape, half alien? We're half shaven ape, half something profound.
Well, you pose a good question there. Should we even be headed? Should that be a goal of humanity to get to utopia? But
yes, I think we should. To clear it up, I think we should. But what does that have to do with this funhouse surprise bag over the head nuts kick reality we live in, where you take the most blissful person in the world and you give them the worst news you could imagine, and then how do you behave when the worst news imaginable? And far be it from all of us. I hope that this dream just gets better and better. Seems to be getting better and better. Like I always say, I wouldn't go back 2 days.
All right,
that's enough for part one.
That's point one. Let's take a look at the next one. Number 2, economic systems. From scarcity to post-scarcity. A utopian society would require abundance of resources, automation of labor, guaranteed basic needs for all, value creation not tied to survival. Economic competition would evolve into creative contribution.
Yeah, once again, a
lot of talk these days about basic, universal basic income.
Yeah.
These things are starting to kind of like enter into the zeitgeist. It's ridiculous, I think, that a first world country still doesn't have like healthcare for everyone, United States. But there's a lot of countries out there, first world countries that the tax goes towards making sure at least everyone gets some shared version of healthcare. So there are steps being taken there. But I think one of the criticisms that would become here would be like, well, how do we afford to pay for all this stuff that we're going to give to people? How do we pay for these universal basic incomes? Because if you're just going to pull it from tax dollars, then the people that are working to support these systems, you're going to take everything that they have, which is going to remove their incentive for them to continue doing what they're doing, right? This is the constant thing that you hear when it comes with these systems. But maybe we need to like look beyond that. Maybe we just need to like make a deal with the banks and everyone that we're all just going to give free money towards that thing, so that thing there can work universally. I don't know. I'm just speaking gibberish.
How does everyone?
I don't know how we do it. But.
How does everyone forget the nature of a human character? Like, how do everyone like as if there's this bleeding heart? Just some things are good. It's like you look at the states and it's like, where's your healthcare states? But how necessary is healthcare if you don't live in a society hell bent on poisoning you to begin with?
You
know what I mean? Like your whole life, it's like, hey man, I worked hard and to fall victim to all your promises of living it up, and now I've lived it up and I'm sick. So you better provide me the cure. It's so intricate. It's actually too intricate probably to be fascinating. You'd have to go things point by point. But
I have read this list, so there's part of things that address some of the things you're talking about here.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, economically, like, first of all, what is utopia? Like zero limitations? We just had a good talk with that last guy, and we were sort of like mini honoring the limits we have.
Yeah.
I've read, I remember I saw this thing online. It was like a trip report, like a psychedelic trip report. And the guy was talking about what he saw when he was navigating the universe. And he was like, I saw civilization so advanced, they created planet-sized art pieces just for the hell of it. Just like massive novelty. And you think about, you mentioned it recently, like, well, what happens when you're just floating in instant, like Terrence McKenna talked about, like when the distance between what you want and what you get shrinks, you'd just be drowning in infinite potential and novelty.
Yeah.
Falling deeper and deeper into like synesthesia and all kinds of things. We take for granted, maybe that's why the Bible says whenever you face certain kinds of trials and tribulations, count it all joy. It's like we're vacationing here in these very puzzling meat sacks. We're vacationing from infinity in this and all these little problems that are plugging holes on a sinking ship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We achieved it. Complete and autonomous, nothing to do. What the hell do we do now? The last thing we were doing before we achieved this was trying to get each other. Was trying to like convince you to take the drugs I'm selling while you convince me to take the drugs you're selling. You know what I mean? Or sell me a timeshare or whatever. So what do we do now? Fall into infinity? Fall into a kaleidoscopic infinite trip?
Yeah. It's hard. It's even hard right now to imagine what a world would look like without, job tasks being assigned to each human being to go off to a job that they don't want to do for the majority of their life. The vast majority of life. Take that away, and it's like, now what are you going to do?
You ever seen the footage of like when people will be looking at these aliens or whatever the hell they are out there, the billions on TikTok or whatever, reports of people like in Vancouver looking at this right now, and it'll just be a shimmering, warping thing in the sky.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe that's what we become. Some trans-dimensional thing that like, what is your intent? Are you going to land? Are you going to abduct somebody? I don't understand you.
And you come back into
just warping in the sky.
You go back into the past to torment your older, Neanderthal selves. That's what's going on here, I guess.
The same thing shifting and warping is just that same guy recording it way into the future.
All right. Well, that's number
Strange
2.
loop.
Big list here. Let's get on number 3. Number 3, political systems. Transparent, decentralized governance. Power structures must shift from hierarchical and corruptible towards transparent decision-making, distributed governance, citizen oversight, AI-assisted policy analysis with ethical safeguards. Corruption becomes structurally impossible. Ooh, corruption becoming structurally impossible. That's kind of interesting. Transparency, I think, something that people have been longing for. And I think like we're subconsciously creating this. Maybe we don't even know we're doing this, but I think that is actually like at the heart of AI. I think that is going to be the thing that AI is used for to stabilize world political orders and economies. I think we even did a reaction where they've already introduced AI into one country into their parliament, where it's like,
I remember that,
bringing ideas and stuff like that. I think that's where we're headed with this. So maybe we're already on like the first steps of this one.
That word corruption's real interesting because to me it makes me think of like, okay, corruption becomes structurally impossible within this future system. That's like saying fraudulence, error, and lying is not possible. You can't lie. There's no lying. There's no having not an objective opinion about things. Can't be too objective about it, or we have to have extreme objective subjectivity, like extreme understanding of subjectivity from an objective perspective. You know what I mean? Like, getting a little difficult to explain, but what I'm saying is that corruption, what is corruption other than like opportunity, like not being transparent, like somebody taking an opportunity, exploitativeness, which all falls under the umbrella of like deceptiveness, duplicitousness, selfishness, lying.
Yeah.
It's like, if you could make a way, maybe AI could have some hand in this where it's like, you can't lie. People, that's not how we've been doing business. That's not how business is currently be done. And it's such a shocker, such a radical shift that people would be horrified if all of a sudden it was impossible to lie. Be like, how do we do business? There's no point. There's no point in doing business if I can't lie. That's how a lot of people would feel. And again, it sounds like I'm like judging all these things. I'm pro these things. I'm just saying it's one thing to say it, but the reality of them is extreme compared to what we're used to.
It would be crazy difficult to implement this. I think one of the reason like little white lies and even big lies, a lot of these things get overlooked is because they're buried under a pile of complexity that people don't have enough time to like analyze every leader. Wait a sec, hold on, one more thing in Parliament. We're going to be here for 500 more hours, but to go through everything to like, people don't have time for it. So it's like, gavel, good, next law, good, next law. It's because we are limited by the amount of time we have and our processing power and the complexity of the matter at hand.
Yeah, we're just limited by limits. Limits are limiting in their very limiting nature.
But with high-powered AI being able to calculate all these things like in, quantum speeds potentially.
Right, but maybe that's what Elon Musk and all them are so scared of, really, is it's going to be extinction. It's going to be extinction because you have to, think about a good police officer. A good police officer has to be able to execute discernment or
discretion.
Discretion.
Yeah.
And same with a judge. A judge has to have discretion. Does things that are not good happen constantly because of that? Totally possible. It's possible that a judge could be like, I don't like your attitude. I'm giving you the max penalty. Yeah. It's up to their discretion. Yeah. It's not perfect moment by moment. Sometimes you're like, I got screwed. But by chance, by getting screwed, I learned a whole bunch about the reality of the system and what's going on. Yeah. But you can't have laws be more rigid. You could, but when laws get too rigid, it's just not how things work out in real time. Yeah. Things need to be a little more flexible and plastic than that.
Yeah. All right. Well, continue on. Number 4, education. From memorization to human development. Education would focus on critical thinking, emotional intelligence, collaboration, creativity, life skills, and self-understanding. Students learn how to live, not just how to get a job. I love that. That is like a total 180 from where we are right now. Right now, it's like reading, writing, and arithmetic. It's like they got like these staples that they've been using for 150 years or however how long, where they all come and sit at desks and they all do everything on a board and memorize this thing and then regurgitate it back to me in a test. It's like not everyone learns the same way. Mm-hmm. We're all different. We all have different skills and things that we...
It's crazy. Yeah. I totally agree. But you see people whose wall-like countenance is just pissed off at this. I just learned the rules. Shut up. I'm a traditionalist. I miss the old ways. Yeah. But 150 years ago, isn't that what this list, isn't that what colleges were like? A place for people to go and do research and have critical thinking and throw new ideas and stretch their potential. I feel like colleges or high education at one point was reflected some of these attributes. Now, the public school education, which seems to have emerged shortly after the Industrial Revolution or during it or just prior to it, is clearly so hand in hand with the Industrial Revolution.
Oh yeah, just
sit at your desk. Everybody in single file. You eat now, you pee now, you know what I mean? It's just enough that the kids can handle. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're going to be a little weathered, a little tired every day. It's not too much to crack them.
And more they're moving away from them. The biggest problem schools are facing right now are the kids aren't showing up. That's the biggest problem. They were they've used to have bigger problems with fights in schools and bullying. Now it's we can't even get them here.
That stuff still probably goes on, but it's man, remember back in 1999 when Fight Club came out and that epic speech where he goes, "We all grew up on TV believing we were going to become movie stars and rock gods, and all this stuff." And he goes, "But we're not, and we're slowly discovering this fact, and we're very pissed off." I feel like that was 1999. It was such and that book is older than that. But I'm saying that notion where a whole generation of men lost to just this blue collar life. Yeah. Maybe it's all catching up. And in the West, people are they're like, there's got to be something more than this. I see through it. The American dream is a rotten corpse, man. It's a bloated, empty hell. No. You know what I mean? The belief in it, the constant revivifying, the Frankensteining of it and bringing it back to life. It's become a monster. Yeah. And so many people, like you said, its reaction is everything's getting so short. It's what's the school week now? 4 days, 20-hour school week? You know what I mean? Which we laugh about, but it's probably makes perfect sense that it's that way. Yeah. I freaking hated my school career in the public school system. I hated it. I used to dream about getting out of it.
Yeah. Well,
I'm glad they're having some mercy
to me,
on
it's
them.
Crazy outdated, and it is time for a shift. Imagine a meditation class or something. But we still have such a traditional culture still that like some parents would be like, don't ever teach my kid meditation. That'd be like a problem.
Well, that's what refers to the point I first said.
Yeah.
It's fun to talk about this from a bunch of like second generation people with passive income, or not passive income, like expendable wealth and safety. It's one thing to talk from that generation where we're like getting all philosophical and, you know, stage green spiral dynamics. But there's people coming up the pipe that are real grateful to be here, and they're busting their ass. And you bet your ass there's a lot of people coming here that are going home and telling their kids, it's that old world. You better be a doctor, for fuck's sake, because I'm working you through college. You know, and then you pair it against hippie parents that are like, just follow your dream. Anything's possible. Think about those monks that got, those poor monks that were all got enlightenment swept through the land. They all got slaughtered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything in its right time.
Yeah.
I'm pro this, especially if there's robots around to do all the work and carry the burden and organize the books. But it's a radical shift for some people, especially people that are ideologically possessed. They're going to be like, this is evil. This is evil. What happened to screaming and discipline?
All right, move on. Number 5, healthcare, preventative and holistic. A utopian society would treat health as a right, not as a commodity. It would emphasize prevention, mental wellness, nutrition, accessible care for all, and longevity-focused medicine. So, you know, like when I was a kid, health, you know, was like you got gym class, and it was like the 4 basic food groups. That was like all you got when I was in school. And I was like, it's so much more complex than that. It's just like, I think there should be heavier emphasis upon Coke is poison. And I'm just coming from a guy who drinks Coke. Coke's poison. McDonald's
back in the day, back in the 90s, the food triangle, that cartoon with like a milk jug with like a face on it, like it would, like there would be like food groups that were like a bunch of meat, like a bunch of pile of red meat, and it'd be like, that's your meat group. You know what I mean? Like, I'm exaggerating, but I remember it in those terms. And if I recall correctly, when I was younger and young enough, there was like a sugar group. There was like off to the side, but it's a small amount. You know what I mean? You're like, how about you don't need any of that? You know what I mean? Like, it's, and I'm not judging. I still eat sugar for pizza.
Yeah, I know. Like, I'm not judging it either, but I'm just saying, like, mental wellness being a part of it, like, you know, coping strategies on how to deal with that stuff. I'm sure that there are slowly but surely some of these things entering into education, but it just seems like it's very far behind. But yeah, like if we can educate people on how to stay out of the hospital, like you were mentioning earlier, then that opens up room in the system already for people who really need like emergency care, things like that. The more we become a preventative society, like we still have, like on most corners, it's junk food at every restaurant.
Everywhere.
There's not like that the healthy fast food restaurant. Where's that?
When you
Where's
go
that?
into the most impoverished areas, like when you go into the areas that are struggling the hardest, people are living paycheck to paycheck, and they're working rough. They're working rough, you know, gig jobs or something. Oftentimes physically demanding. I fell off the thing and I twisted my ankle, and then they fired me because they didn't want a dead weight around. You know what I mean? You go into an area like that. You go into the convenience store, and it's dusty, and there's plenty of lotto tickets, scratchers to buy, all the pop you can imagine, and candies. It's a candy shop with. They used to have porn too, but now it's too accessible. They don't bother, I guess. But it's like candy and all the vices.
Yeah.
So you get your cigarettes and your candy and your scratchers
Yeah.
when you're there.
Your booze.
Into an area that's like still exploitable. It can still take the you know what I mean? That's the battery they're running. Yeah. You're right. Whatever you were saying about the healthcare, like. I gotta think that this is very complicated. Like as you were talking, I was thinking about, you know how like we watch movies about and we dramatize and we love like stories about the founders of like the country. You know, like who was George Washington? He was who paved the way for like democracy and all this stuff. It's like, who are the heroes of capitalism? Like who was the first guy to be like over the top, like just fire. I don't care if they got families. Fire. There's got to be a way to automate this and pump these things out. But sir, studies show that these are like, you know, people are dying on the job. I don't care. Get that thing up. Get the high rise. Who is the first guys to pave the way for what is become capitalism?
Yeah.
Which is We can't unplug the machine. We can't get rid of those little outposts that only sell diabetes creators and vices galore, because they give we need that for a little shot in the economy. Those same people are the only type of people that take these type of jobs that we still want. I'm saying I love the idea of doing away with everything that's vapid and empty and death creating and suffering creating. But are you ready for it? Are you ready for it? For everything to be like, all right, now that we can do whatever we want, I guess I'll just be on drugs all the time. And it's like, there is no access to any, you know what I mean? You've been relegated to consciousness work. You know what I mean? Right. You go somewhere and become conscious. It's such a shift, paradigmally speaking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think a lot of these things, a lot of these stores wouldn't even be allowed to exist if they were like invented in this day and age. Like if you took all the fast food chains and it like wasn't a thing, and then it would like someone brought that idea to the table in 2025, it'd be look at it and be like, what are you talking about? This is gonna kill everyone. You can't have this. So like, I don't know. I think a lot of it is built upon the system of the past.
I don't know for sure, but it's fun to speculate. It's just fun and funny because we all know something's going on, but we don't know exactly what. But have you ever heard the study about like there's a certain amount of rat hair that can be found? Like there's a percentage. Like there's a percentage.
Don't tell me.
Well, I heard this. Okay, don't be too weirded out. It's like hot dogs can contain a certain amount of rat hair or something. It's the cost of having a factory. I'm like. Yeah, right. Like there's no sterile environments. Like, but the moment there's an allotment, a true capitalist would go, make a completely sterile lab. But can you get me can you get a hold of 2 tons of rat hair?
Yeah.
Because we're gonna cut costs. Get me a good price on it. Because we're going to make this a sterile factory, but then technically all chocolate and hot dogs can have this much rat hair. Oh, so we're going to buy it pro bono. There's a safe amount, and we're actually going to add it in.
Oh, God.
People are going, you're out of your mind crazy. Every penny counts, doesn't it? Yeah. And you're acting as though sterility to the absolute supreme degree doesn't exist?
No.
You're right. If fast foods came out of nowhere, they'd be like, what is this meat? Why does it look plastic? Why does your lettuce not go bad as quickly as it should? You know what I mean? Yeah. All that would be brought into question and things would get very different. You know, since the Great Enlightenment, food tastes like nothing. We didn't realize how crack addict we were going into that. I missed the taste of the spike of sugar and being able to detect salt in my food. Mm-hmm. It's like another gray nutrition cube. You know what I mean? We freed you from your capitalism.
Oh, jeez.
We're all essentially like stimulation addicts.
Well, maybe in the future they could create some type of like Star Trek generator that creates the food that tastes like it has all the bad like sugars and stuff, but it's really good for you. It tricks your brain. Something like that.
But we had to remove the part of you that would keep pressing that make it taste better button for infinity. So we're all one amorphous blob of thinking the same thing.
All right, continue on. Number 6, technology aligned with well-being. Technology would be designed to enhance human flourishing, not exploit attention or manipulate behavior. That includes ethical AI, human devices, tech that augments, not replaces, human connection. Ethical technology. That's a tough one, man, because technology is this thing that's like constantly evolving and you don't necessarily know all the goods and bads about it until it's like done its thing. A lot of us we're all like guinea pigs essentially when it comes to like, we didn't know what social media was going to do to us. It had to be invented and then we all had to like, you know, play with it. And then we saw, there's a lot of really bad stuff that goes on there. But then we also noticed that, you know, thank God for technology, man. You know, like I was able to answer my emails faster. I can do all this stuff way better. So it's like sometimes you got to take the good with the bad. It's hard with the technology stuff.
That one line there that says tech that augments, not replaces human connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. It's like every now and then I bring up the fact that there's some guy out there that's a master fire craftsman. Like he builds fires at a journeyman level.
Yeah.
And there's a guy that makes clothing out of stringing leather together, old world style. And a guy that's proficient in chiseling. We've had computers and paper and tablets for forever. There's a stellar master out there, somebody chiseling things into, look at that. They'll never get as good as the machines with lasers do it.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of things we don't have to do that we do for fun. Yeah. And when everything is covered, like there is no actual jobs, what would you really do? Yeah. What would you do? And could you deal with the fact that it's like, that's a nice thing that you did, but there's no such thing as money anymore. Yeah, so you can't even get a monetary slap on the back for a good job.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you talking about? I've built 3 worlds in my time off. I went off and created life. You know what I mean? Like you could, in that type of utopia, you could do whatever you wanted. You could be doing something by hand. But when hyper intelligence abounds and everything, there's no such thing as an economy anymore. It's like it would raise the questions which I invite you to ask pre-utopia. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why the hell am I really doing it? If the answer is survival, then that's your answer. Yeah. But if you're surviving and you're still up to shenanigans, up to all kinds of just needless drama and suffering, you go, what am I doing? What am I doing? Why?
Yeah. Good question. Number 7, environmental harmony. A utopia requires sustainable energy, regenerative agriculture, biodiversity restoration, waste-free circular systems, respect for ecological limits. Human activity aligns with nature instead of dominating it. So environmentally conscious humanity thinks about, we're not just going to plow over this thing, without being sure what we're doing and I like the idea of like regenerative agriculture because that's another thing like Sadhguru talks about, the fact that the way that we plant our food and everything, we keep sucking all the vitamins out of it and then we have no vitamins left. I like the idea of having a plan to kind of like face that. Because I don't know about you, I take so many vitamin supplements because I don't feel like I'm getting anything these days. My counter's filled with like vitamin C, D, B, like omegas because I just don't feel like I'm getting anything out of my food.
Take some vitamin D in the winter months. I take some vitamin D and some vitamin C.
Yeah.
I try to get protein in vegetables. What if we use the moon, a desolate planet? What if we put all our what are those computer stacks called, processors?
Oh yeah.
We put all the processors on the moon or something like this. I'm being silly right now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of non-linearly tie a bunch of stuff together. It's like, I think Terence McKenna talked about the idea of contact lenses that project whatever reality you want into your visual field. Like I was checking out Minecraft recently and I was like, man, it's gorgeous. They've really updated it. It's, and then there's versions that you can find on YouTube where somebody made it look like real life. It's like a character walking through the real world, except for everything's square. And as technology becomes more immersive, you put it on, you might get to a point where you live your whole life in a digital realm made out of light. You're living there. So what better to do than be a good steward of the planet outside of whatever safe bubble you are? Yeah. And then what happens when we get to the point where we're like, we don't even need to stay on Earth. We can leave. Yeah. It's like we become a little plant garden taking care of the Earth. Like, oh, look at this species. Oh, what are we going to, should we intervene? Prime directive. No, we just let this thing go. Next thing you know, lizards are smacking tools together and they're the next thing that's following our pattern. And we become the aliens hovering above, looking down. You know what I mean? Like, who knows how this whole process goes? But I like the idea of us. Maybe it's because Mother Earth is my mother too. Yeah. But I'm saying I like the idea of not destroying it with nuclear fallout and garbage.
Yes. Agreed. Yeah, I think I see a lot of it in like future prediction videos and stuff like that where they use AI and all the buildings, like you can't create a building without it being like covered with trees all the way up, right up to the roof, and like a city, a world that is like, everything has to have plant life on it, like covering it so it can like, I don't know, good for the ecosystem. And then like a world where we don't have utilities, pushing fuels across giant land masses to for cities to be able to keep their lights on or keep the heat on. What use is even this giant building wrapped in vines when you can get everything you need out of a far more minimalist place? No, maybe a villa or something. I don't know. Well, even if you had like, let's say Elon Musk's Neuralink becomes more and more complex and sophisticated and
technology gets to the point where it's indistinguishable. They've tapped into your nervous system.
Yeah.
So when you're in there, it feels real. All of a sudden, what are you? What the hell are you? It's like, we don't need any buildings. Let the planet literally grow. Well, what's the point of letting the planet grow? Because there's new species evolving into complex things. And so everything takes the place of the thing behind it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see what emerges out of it. All right, well, we'll continue on. Number 8, justice system. Restorative versus non-punitive. The goal would shift from punishment to rehabilitation, reconciliation, healing for victims, reduction of harm, and addressing root causes of crime, trauma, poverty, and mental health. I love that. Like a deep focus. I think, oh man, if we could get away from like some of our traditional ways of doing this, of like throwing someone in a cell, locking them away, and forgetting about them.
Me and you talk in a vacuum here, and just to be clear, to connect with the audience out there, I don't think I'm at the place now. If somebody harmed me or hurt me in the right way, I wouldn't want to get them, especially not if I was in a hyper reactive state. Like if I was out of it and tired and not thinking clearly, I might want to just get them back.
Yeah.
That's very ape. It's a very shameful way to be. But when a clear mind abides, you see that that's just some ape style reactive justice seeking nonsense. Like I watched this movie, it was a TV show. It was pretty good. It was about the President Garfield.
Okay.
Andrew Garfield or whatever his name is. And he was assassinated. But right before they put him to death, the president's wife came and visited him and like gave him a little speech about like, no one's going to remember it. Like she was hurting. She was crying because he killed her husband. Yeah. And she like tells him this, and she walks away, and he's in his cell, and then he goes to the gallows, and he's all delusional about why he did it. But right before they pull the lever and he dies, you see like they acted this out. They depicted that he had regret and everything like that. Like he was deluded. He was a crazy person. But many people are still like, think justice is a thing. Like, I want him to suffer so that he suffers because I suffer so he should suffer. It's like, what does that have to do with anything? Like, what does that have to do with like protecting the world or anybody? Like it is a measure, like in a brutal society, like, everybody knows what happens if you take from the thing. That's a finger chop off. Like it's somewhat effective in stopping people from doing things. Yeah. But there's so many problems with the fucking system, involving mental health. Like they were deluded. They were crazy. I don't care that you're crazy. I want you to suffer. Yeah. It's not thinking clearly. Yeah. I need you to suffer, and I don't care about the reason why even you did the thing. Is inferior to somebody building a system that's like, okay, just calm down for a second. I know you're in pain, but if we reform the system, we'll have less initial crimes that happen that we need to get justice for. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, what about the idea of just ask yourself, if you had the opportunity, what do you want more for the person who commits the crime? Do you want them to suffer? Or what if you could 100% know that the person was reformed, changed, and learned their lesson? What would you pick?
If it was possible to know
one versus the other,
if it was possible to know, you are an idiot if you don't say I would want them to reform and learn. You're not an idiot. You're somebody that's been hurt, and I have compassion and I understand. Like I said, I'm still there. Even I'm still petty enough that I would want to I'd still operate in a realm.
That's why we have judges to take out the emotional attachment to it.
But a smarter future version of me, a greater version of me, would understand that's asinine. That it's stupid, that it does matter how the person ended up the criminal to begin with. Like many criminals came from abusive screw, and people will go, it's just nothing to do with that. You always have choice. It's like, you don't know what choice is. If they're doing it, that was the result of the bad thing. Yeah. Corrective measures, and like you said, like addressing trauma, whatever it said, trauma, poverty, and mental illness. Yeah. Trauma, poverty, and mental illness. What it is oftentimes people want their cake and eat it too. I should be able to work hard and have more than you and kind of treat you like shit and kick you as I'm walking by, and I better never get shivved. You're a might is right fucking Neanderthal. Yeah. And you just don't understand yet that's like this pussy world that you have a problem with is sophisticated and superior. I'm with you. I'm the fucking idiot too that would like want to get somebody. if they did something to me. But I realized that I am an idiot for thinking that way. Would be better.
Number 9, community and social structure. People would have stronger communities, social safety nets, healthy cultural rituals, shared purpose, and a sense of belonging. Loneliness and isolation would become rare.
Ooh, very good.
Yeah. So more connectedness, I think we've gone through phases of this in humanity. We're probably in like a really bad spot right now when it comes to being connected. I think we isolate ourselves with technology a lot, and but it's weird. It's like, are we? Like, I don't know if we totally are, because social media gets a hard time, but a lot of social media is also like people talking with each other. I know the youngsters, like, they get on Discord and stuff and they're constantly chatting. They don't leave their homes all the time, but they talk to each other. I know it's not the same thing as like person-to-person contact. But
you ever experienced culture shock? I'm sure you have.
Yes,
You went to a meditation retreat, or you used to work on camp. I remember you used to work at a campground. And you lived there while you worked there.
Yeah.
It's something you have to get used to. And when I've traveled around and gone overseas to travel, there have been times when I came back and I was like, I'm culture sick. A little bit. It was so different, right?
Yeah.
And that plays a factor in here, like in terms of loneliness. Like in that book, Ari and Her Ape, they did a very like horrifying study where they took baby chimps and they kept making the mother like automaton placeholder less actually chimp-like. Like they put like a cage, like it was a frame cage thing with like some fur on it, and it had 2 like milk dispensers. And the chimp like loved that mama, like, so that if they brought in like a little mask and tried to scare the chimp, it would run over and like cling to the mother. Like it loved it. And if your gut is grossed out right now, I liken that to culture shock. So many things are away because we're told they're away. And when it's backed by science, it's like becomes rooted in your head. Like you believe it like an idiot. I just don't think we know what anything is. We don't know the true cost of isolation. If you could isolate, get away from a bunch of different things, and then you go to touch base and people will be like, I don't know, man, you got weird. That's why you never leave the group. You never leave the pack. Because you get weird when you're on your own. Like, and then you might be so stupid that you go back to your pack of heathens. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I even believe in loneliness or laziness or any of these things. That's why, again, I say I speak to like a very rare few that's willing to not believe that such things are a thing.
So you say on this list, this one might not be. This one's kind of up for grabs. It's not
no,
necessarily...
loneliness does exist. Like I reserve the right to contradict myself. What I'm saying is, yes, loneliness and isolation would be great if they were rare. Like the idea of it, bad feelings involved with alienation and stuff like that. Loneliness as it stands, as it's described now, and isolation as it's described now. But part of the catalyst for getting rid of those things might be a willingness to be like, leave the pack and stop contributing to what would the opposite of loneliness be? Like something negative but's opposite, like group sickness. Like I'm sick of everybody's. What they would call it is social anxiety. Is the opposite of loneliness, is that you just can't handle it, You can't handle being around people. But if you have detected that there's something wrong with the group or there's something wrong with the system here, it's not fear necessarily to go deal with it. It's something's wrong here. And I actually, to get a straight mind, have to go off on my own. And you will call that crazy. You'll say, that's crazy. You're supposed to come and be dramatic with us and compete constantly with even people that are supposed to love you.
Well, some people can also hide in a crowd too, right? If you're using a crowd just...
You're a sociopath, I guess.
Well, if you're just using a crowd sometimes so you don't have to focus on anything internal or deal with anything within yourself, that could also be another thing that could become an obstacle.
That's true.
All right, well, move on to the last one here. Number 10, global cooperation. Nations would transition from competition to collaboration by aligning around shared planetary goals, fair distribution of resources, peaceful conflict resolution, mutual support, collective evolution, and human identity expands beyond nationality, race, or tribe? Global cooperation in a world of where nationalism seems to be on the rise right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's not because I think globalization is bad. I think what happened was a lot of countries tried to say they were being global while using people from poorer areas around the world to fill their capitalist, aspirations. I think a lot of countries in the West were bringing in immigrants saying that they were doing it like, we're bringing the world together, we're bringing cultures together, and it's all beautiful. I think that is a good thing. I don't have any problem with it, but I think the reason they were doing it wasn't for us to become unite as humanity. I think they were using it for cheap labor to get people from other countries who didn't make as much, who didn't have as powerful of a dollar in their country, to get cheaper labor out of them.
Well, what's that line? Make a plan or you become part of somebody else's?
Yeah.
That in a nutshell?
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And it often feels like that, right? Something done out of goodness. You learn a little bit more richly about the history of it. Could be anything. Could be women's suffrage. Could be anything. And then you find out that there was an opportunist out there that was kind of pulling the strings for something. It's like I think of Dave Chappelle on that one special when he talks about the pimp whose bottom bitch, his best prostitute, was about to run her course.
Yeah.
And he orchestrated this thing to make her feel as though he saved her, but he knew all the characters. He knew the guy that came in and created this deception so that she was grateful to have him. So she was ready to quit.
Yeah.
And he got another while out of her. But he had all the money. He orchestrated it gotcha, like a Machiavellian chess playing master.
Yeah.
And we get traumatized. That's when the naive becomes the wise. Is when that happens to them. Like, hey, I'll give you a shiny doll. I'll give you a nickel for catching this. And then you grow up and you're like, a fucking nickel? Well, I can't believe they screwed me. You know what I mean? Yeah. But when I was naive and stupid, I thought that was so valuable.
Yeah.
So I point that out to say that there's a lot of people that think that way, and they want everything to be clear, but there's always someone smarter pulling more strings and socially engineering you.
Yeah.
Always. But there are a few, if you're clever. That's why I always say I don't know who I'm talking to. I'm definitely not talking to everybody. I'm talking to somebody or some people out there that see that and are the brave ones that are willing to go, I'm going to do exactly what I want to do. Yeah. I'm going to go off and see things exactly as I want to see them. And if that gets painful or boring, I'll go back and I'll see what the world has to offer. And you know what? In real time, I'll even change my ways and I'll adopt some of their things.
Yeah.
But I encourage autonomy. I encourage people to just learn as much as you can. Be as not naive as possible until that gets heavy, and then have fun. Be naive. Understand that you're getting duped by somebody out there. Yeah. Always. You know what I mean? But there are characters that lived on the corner of the village. A meek monk that went off and said, nah, leave your chaos to yourselves. And I'll live out here on the outskirts where it's safe and I can be peaceful. Like, in a nutshell, what am I saying here? I'm saying, yeah, that's fine. Like, I think it's a proper value to desire collaboration rather than like vicious competition. But we just don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what the schemers are really going to do. They might go, we discovered a little planet outpost and we're going to go conquer it. Conquest. We're planet Earth. We're going to do it. But we just subjugate some alien race. Or we might have to fight off aliens. Or none of us know what the hell's going to happen. And yeah, you could always be being duped by Big Brother. In every situation. Forever. Like, shit, I earned this position only to find out that it's more task oriented. Yeah. It's just somebody else's footheel, even though I've clawed my way to get here. Yeah. That's always going to be the case. Either you can, and if you can handle it, have fun. And if you can't, go do something else. But I don't know. Yeah. We're not government officials. We don't know what the secret briefs they're talking about are and where all this is going.
Yeah. I think we've learned a lot of lessons over the last 100 years as it relates to like our fellow like other countries and neighbors. And I think next time, I don't think it's going to be as exploited as it was. From what I think in the last 100 years, I think it's going to be more even Steven. And you know what? The West, I think, might have a wake up where we might need help. I think we might be the countries that need, countries like China to help us out, and other countries. So it might be a humbling experience for all of us.
Just do what you know is right to do.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's not even the right thing to say. Don't know anything. Just stop knowing things. Like, to bring it all back to the monks that all got slaughtered, I would still rather be among the monks that got slaughtered. Definitely. I would still definitely be among the group of monks that got enlightened and got slaughtered by the barbarians. They seemed like they had it together. They had their society working, They're all sweeping together. They're all, tending to the garden quietly, peacefully. And they're all meditating together. And then barbarians come in with schemes and plans. That's just nature doing its thing. That's nature exacting itself.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, that was a long one. Hopefully you enjoyed this list. Let us know in the comments what you think about it. If you think some of these points were wrong, or if you agreed with all of it, let us know. Share your ideas. And if you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share this with a friend, and everyone until next time, stay spiritual.